Hello everybody, I am Jedi Jack Penguin and welcome back to another LEGO Creator 3-in-1 review. So today we're going to be looking at number 31171, Majestic Rhino. This set includes 780 pieces retailing for $59.99 when it released on August 1st of 2025. Now one of my favorite LEGO sets of all time is the Creator 3-in-1 Majestic Tiger. Seeing them name this set the Majestic Rhino made me think that this was going to be very much like that set. Not in that way, but in the way that this build could be quite realistic compared to what you see in real life for these animals, which I'm really excited to bust this open and take a look at that Rhino build. And already just looking at it from the front of the box, I love seeing the Tickbirds, I love seeing the little water and mud area. Spinning around to the back of the box, we can take a better look at the two alternate builds that are included. We have both a Walrus and a Hippo. Again, LEGO is really knocking it out of the park with these animal builds as of lately, and I'm really excited to see how these turn out in person. Opening up the box, we have 6 numbered bags to build the set, in addition to your 3 instruction manuals, 1 for each alternate build. To begin our alternate builds, we have a Walrus, which I think turned out really great, accompanied by this patch of snow and ice and a little fish for food. Now, as an alternate build, you do not use all of the pieces included in the set to build the model. You do end up with a number of extras that you can use alongside the pieces that you build here to create the final overall model for that rhinoceros. Getting started with those smaller pieces, we have this little fish that we can feed to your walrus. Pretty simple design. I do like that it's nice and flat, very similar to some other fish designs that we have gotten from LEGO Creator in the past. Next up, we have this patch of snow and ice. I like seeing those translucent blue pieces for the ice, and seeing more than one color for the water gives it more texture. Again, fairly simple build here. Here's a look at the underside if you're interested. And that brings us to the Walrus itself, which I think turned out really good. I do like the size of this thing. Just considering this set, I'm very happy that it isn't something too small. It uses a very similar technique for the neck design that we also saw for the Creator horse that released alongside this. You can check out my review for that as well if you're interested. But we use those construction joints, which are pretty well hidden. Really, the only problem that I have with this is the fact that it leaves a pretty ugly gap from the very front if you have this part up for the Walrus. I'm not exactly sure if that would be accurate at all. It just feels too open and weird in that spot. But I guess one way to solve that is to just simply move the head down and place it right in front of the body. You won't really see a thing. Then you have a gap from the other side, but it's not really noticeable if you look at it like this. Talking about the head design, we get another construction joint for the neck area, so you can move it up and down and side to side as you please. I like getting these Technic pieces for the tusks, for the teeth from the very front of the Walrus. We also have this really interesting ball joint piece, which I think is typically used in the mech sets for the eyes. I think it's really cool how they did that. Get the nose. And just the general shaping of the face. I like getting this piece in the light gray. We see that quite a few times in this set. You'll also see it for the flippers down here, which also use those ball joints here. So you can move them as you please. More ball joints from the middle over here, so you can swing the back side from side to side. And we have these stick piece connections, these sticks with the studs on the end to connect the tail from the very back side. Quick peek at the underside if you're interested. Last thing that I just have to say that I appreciate about this build is all of these slope pieces in the light gray are really nice to get in this set. If anything, this is a great parts pack. If you're, I guess, a LEGO Star Wars fan, you get a lot of really nice gray slope pieces in this set. Again, I'm very satisfied with the animal builds that have been coming from the LEGO Creator theme. This one turned out really good, but I don't think it's going to be my favorite of the bunch. On to our second alternate build, we have a hippo that's also accompanied by these two birds, as well as a hidden hippo in the water, which I didn't even notice at first, just thinking that it looks like a pile of rocks, but it's actually supposed to represent a hippo under the water, which I really love that they were able to do that. Now again, as an alternate build, you do not use all of the pieces included in the set to build this part of the model. You do end up with a number of extras that you can use with these pieces to create the final model for that rhino. Getting started with this side build of a patch of water with the hippo underneath, I just think that was such a clever idea for them to include that as just a reference and giving us another hippo without really even meaning to. We also get these new leafy pieces, which I believe are new for 2025, as well as these little flower pieces are also new as of maybe last year, so it's great to get a lot of these different foliage pieces, these green pieces, get some mud by the water, and a little bit of sand as well. Before we talk about the hippopotamus itself, we have these two little birds hanging out on the back, just connected with some studs. They're fairly simple designs. I'm pretty sure that these designs are also going to be reused once we get to building that rhino. Like most alternate builds from the LEGO Creator theme, I think this one turned out really well. I just love the shaping of this animal, how well they were able to capture it with a lot of these different slope pieces. Starting from the front of the face design, I did want to just look at this straight on and compare it to the little head that we get in the water. I just think it's really interesting to see the continuity between the part usage here, just for like the general nose structure, as well as like the nostrils and the ears and everything. I just think it's really cool to see that side-by-side comparison, how they were able to create this more flat model compared to something a little bit more rounded, using a lot more building on the side techniques and just different things. Like, I really like how they were able to make the jaw of this creature where you can easily open and close it just to view the mouth and the tongue and the inside, the teeth and everything. I just think they did a really great job with that. Just like the walrus, we're also going to be using that same exact piece, those ball joints for the eyes, which I think works well. You can see the ears up at the top. Those are slightly adjustable using these serving hand pieces. We also get some motion in the neck area, so you can move it up and down and a little bit side to side with a construction joint. I should also note underneath the neck, you'll see that we do have this little piece over here. This is to stop it from going down to a certain angle, so I do really like that. May even be used as support as just how big this head is. Now, another thing you may not notice right away, even though you can't move the head down to that certain point with that blocker in place, you can actually lift this up a little bit to lift like the whole head of the hippo, which I think is really interesting that they went that route when you can't really like move the head down. Maybe that's just something that is part of this animal's body type, but I just wanted to point it out that they have this option for the posability. It's the same type of technique that we also saw for the walrus, as well as that beautiful horse set. Moving down to the legs, we get some very slight movement with the front legs. They're very stubby compared to the back legs, which you can see are a lot bigger from the very top. And you get a lot more motion, some kickback on these back legs. Clip piece connection for the tail. Lots and lots of slope pieces, studs across the back to place the birds, and I do have to just talk about just the feet in general. I just think look really nice and they're very consistent. The design of them using those 1x1 tile pieces with the curved top. On to the final overall model for the Majestic Rhino. It turned out really nice. I do really like a lot of the pieces in this set. If you're not a fan of the build, you'll certainly end up with a number of really cool parts that you can just add to your collection. Though overall, I don't know why you wouldn't like this model out of the 3 that you get in this set. I think they did a really great job capturing a rhino, as well as the added scenery and his little bird friends on his back and his head. Starting with the very last thing that you build for this model, we have some scenery, which uses those new leafy pieces right here with the old leafy pieces, a little bit of contrast there. I do really like getting these pieces as well as the flowers from the top of them. I think that's a really interesting connection for those. You can see the clip piece just to give the angles. some rocks, and of course, with water and sand and dirt, you get mud, which is one of the rhino's favorite things here. Another little creature build over here for a snail. Pretty clever design using the cherry piece. But yeah, as far as looking back at these side builds that we've gotten with past LEGO Creator animals, this may be the most accurate, or I guess true to the animal that it goes with. So I guess that has something going for it as well. On to the main event. Charging your way, we have the Majestic Rhino, who is accompanied by a number of different little Tickbirds up here. We have this more blue and purple one, and then we have the red and dark brown, kind of similar to the birds that we also saw with the Hippo. I think these are a very crucial inclusion to this model, not only as, I guess, support for keeping an eye out for this creature, but also just typically when it comes to rhinos in real life, you'll see little birds on their backs and such. So I really love that this build keeps it real. Talking about posability, we get that neck movement thanks to a construction joint, goes up and down and a little bit side to side. I do have to point out that we do get that blocker just like we saw with that last build, so it doesn't go down too far, but we also get that same movement with like the body neck area there, so you can move the head up all the way like that. I don't think it makes any sense really having it go that far. It is kind of weird, again using that same like construction design that we saw with the beautiful horse set that I recently reviewed. It's really interesting to see them starting to use that more and more in these creator sets. It makes me worried that they're gonna keep using it in the future. I mean, maybe it'll work with certain things, but for something like this, I don't see the need for that. I do see the need for the blocker as far as making sure that this head doesn't fall down, as it is quite weighted and we only have the one connection with that construction joint. Talking about the ears, you can move those a little bit if you want, you can adjust them. And we have the rhino horns from the front. We have two different pieces to represent those. We have the same eye design that we've seen for the last two builds. And we have a little mouth, which you can also move a little bit, open and close it. Very, very tiny, cute mouth there, and lots of slope pieces just to round out this head design, which I think turned out really good. On to the rest of the body, lots more slope pieces where those came from. Again, I really do like that this set feels like a really great parts pack, so if you don't really care for the builds, you get quite a lot of really nice slope pieces in here. We get some larger back legs, which you can move back and forth, and they do stop at a point because of the body. And you get movement for the front legs, and those can move pretty well back and forth as well. Lots and lots of good movement with the legs. And then the ball joints for the little feet, which will be the same design for all four of them. Another thing I wanted to point out is that they did try and cover up the backs of these legs so they don't look too ugly using those horseshoe pieces. They look alright. I certainly do appreciate the effort to try and round them out a little bit more. And you'll also notice a little tail from the back, which uses a clip piece connection for movement. So overall, for $60, is this set worth it? Well, if you're a fan of the LEGO Creator animal sets like I am, you're definitely going to want to pick this one up. I think the Rhino build is probably my favorite out of the three. The Hippo's alright, the Walrus is alright. They aren't anything too exciting. I definitely think if you're getting this set, you're going to get it for that Majestic Rhino. It's certainly the best build and certainly has the most accurate references to the animal in real life, including those Tickbirds, as well as the mud area to splash in. So yeah, that's all that I have to say for this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified about future videos. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye!